Councilmember Agency Director Mann.
Present.
Marcus. Here. Cilio.
Here.
Vice Mayor, Vice Chairman Smith.
Here.
Mayor Chairman Paris.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. The invocation will be done by Pastor Darrell Ardwine from Prevailing Word Christian Center. Oh, good. Did I get the name right? Good. Thank you. We could actually, if you would like to face the audience, you can pull the mic forward and do it that way if you like.
Let us bow our heads in prayer. Heavenly Father, we come to you this evening. We acknowledge you as our head and our Savior. We ask that you would lead and guide and direct this meeting tonight. We thank you, Father, because you give wisdom, Lord. When righteous men are in office, the city rejoices. So we thank you for that tonight. We thank you for your bestowed wisdom and direction and guidance. We pray these prayers in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Thank you very much, Pastor. Vice Mayor Smith, you want to lead us in the pledge?
Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You want to do the USB art? So you can, and then I'll follow you up.
Just want to make sure. Oh, good evening. So tonight we have another Louis Bozigian Gift of the Arts Awards, and we have it to two individuals. Let me just read the background here. It's to Arturo and Ana Luz Castañón. Arturo and Ana Luz Castañón founded the Colibre Factoria del Arte in 2001 and have been residents of Lancaster since 2003. Arturo and Ana Luz relocated to the Antelope Valley in 2000 from Mexico City, where they received the training as a chemical engineer and industrial designer, and where they learned about and started experimenting with the art of glass making. Since moving to the Antelope Valley, Arturo and Ana Luz have worked diligently towards expanding the knowledge and appreciation of glass working techniques and design in the Antelope Valley and surrounding areas. They have fostered a spirit of collaboration among the Antelope Valley arts community in organizing Art Studio AV, a series of monthly meetings, workshops, seminars designed to promote the artists and give them a venue in which to display their art, teach their skills, share common interests in art, network with other community members, and learn about tools that help them market their creations. Both Arturo and Ana Luz have donated their services and numerous artworks to local charities. I heard they're working on a nice chandelier for the Lemon Leaf, so that'll be great. They've worked for organizations just such as the Zonta Club and the Antelope Valley, the Painted Turtle, Thunder on the Lot, and contributed countless volunteer hours to the Children's Center of Antelope Valley, the Antelope Valley Red Cross, and the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Arturo has also volunteered his time to help students at Columbia Elementary in Eastside School District to form connections between art and science through directed art projects. Arturo and Ana Luz Castañón have made a significant contribution to the advancement of the arts and the culture in Lancaster through their donation of time, skill, and knowledge in the production of the visual arts. So on behalf of the City of Lancaster, if you could both come up, we'd like to award you the Louis V. Bozigian Gift of the Arts Award, which is given to people because of their outstanding contribution and dedication to spreading the arts. Can't wait to see that chandelier, too. That's going to be great. When is it going to be done?
In the second building, the new building.
No, what time?
Yes, well, that hopefully work. Yes, it does. Very good. Thank you.
Is Wesley McCurtis here? Come on down. Got your speech ready? No, I'm kidding. I'm pleased to announce that our March recipient of the Mayor's Athlete of the Month Award is senior basketball star Wesley McCurtis from Paraclete High School. We've been trying to get you here for a month now, you know that. Okay. Wesley, a senior at Paraclete High School, has averaged 24 points, 2.3 assists, 3 rebounds, and 4.5 steals per game this season. Wesley has helped to lead his team to the CIF Southern Section Division 4A semifinals, the furthest Paraclete has advanced in 20 years. Paraclete was also selected to participate in the California State Championship playoffs. Wesley broke the career scoring record at Paraclete, finishing his career with over 1,400 points. If I could have just made one. That's truly incredible. Wesley was selected to the first team Delphic League, the All-Valley Press Team Honors his junior season, and the second team Delphic League his sophomore season. Wesley has maintained a 3.6 GPA throughout his high school career and received a 4.0 for the first semester of his senior year. Wesley has been offered an academic scholarship, not a sports scholarship, an academic scholarship, to Holy Names University in Oakland, California. Wesley has also served his community by feeding the homeless on Sunday mornings at Grace Resource Center. For his outstanding accomplishment in athletics, academics, and in the community, I would like to present Wesley McCurtis with the Mayor's Athlete of the Month Award. I can give him a $1,000 scholarship, right? Okay, see, sometimes with CIF I can't, but with the academic one I can. So you'll also be getting $1,000 from the city manager, and don't let him forget. Okay. Okay, let's get a picture.
Mayor, the team's here too. They might want to be in the picture as well too.
And I think this puts it in perspective. Look what he's playing against. Thank you very much. What, did Jason just tell you I was out of money? Is that what? Oh. Okay. All speaker cards must be filled out and submitted prior to the agenda item being called. The same rule applies if you wish to speak on non-agendized items at the end of the meeting. Following this process will allow us to conduct a timely and orderly meeting. Thank you. City Manager, any items to be removed from the redevelopment calendar?
I believe Councilman Mann
Yes,
has an item to remove.
Item RCC 2, we're still working in that on Beach Avenue, and I got property in proximity to that, so I'm going to recuse myself.
Okay, let's go ahead and vote on RCC 1.
I'll move that we adopt RCC 1.
I'll second that.
Let's vote. It's unanimous. Mr. Mann is now leaving the room. Is there a motion on RCC 2?
Move to adopt RCC 2.
Is there a second?
Second.
Let's vote. It's unanimous. Councilman Mann has returned.
I'll move that we adopt the consent calendar.
No. There's items CC4, CC6, and CC10 have to be removed. I have conflicts on every one of them. On CC4 and CC6 and 10, I believe I represent people involved. And on CC10, my office is in too close of proximity.
So that's 4, 6, and 10 that's removed?
That's correct.
I'll move that we adopt the consent calendar as currently comprised.
I'll second that.
Let's vote. It's unanimous. I'm leaving the room as to CC 4, 6, and 10.
Let the record reflect that the mayor's left the room, and I've now taken the chair. Do I hear any motions on CC 4, CC 6, and CC 10?
Move adoption, CC 4, 6, and 10.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Call for a vote. It's unanimous. Let the record reflect the mayor is now retaken the chair.
Okay. On this item?
That's NB1.
Okay. NB 101, Vern Lawson. Read a new screen?
Yeah, it's huge. Higher resolution monitor, the whole shot. See?
Has plasma come to the Lancaster yet?
Plasma's about 1/3 the size.
Oh, really?
It's just other extraneous.
Mayor and Council, we're asking for approval of a memorandum of understanding tonight between three parties. I'd like to give you a little background and then turn it back to the mayor, who understands this deal very well. The partnership is between BYD, KB Homes, and the city of Lancaster. I like this slide, even though I know it's not visible to the whole room, because it speaks to the tradition of BYD, and when I saw it, I really understood fully the different ramifications of the company. They actually started out as an IT business and developed most of the batteries that we carry in our cell phones, the lithium-ion batteries. They then evolved into the automotive business using some of that technology, and now their future, which Lancaster is going to be a part of, is a new energy business. And I think it's important because I think people might envision this as just a car company, and they're quite much more than just a car company. They have an incredible background in technology, and one of the reasons why we think there'd be such a great fit with Lancaster is because we're a technology community too. The next slide indicates a home that we had the pleasure of visiting in their corporate headquarters in Shenzhen, China. This is a demonstration project that they call their solar village, and I think is indicative of what they want to do in Lancaster, although you'll see slightly modified. It was very eye-opening for me to actually physically go in the space and see the LED lightings and recognize their commitment to clean energy. This is not the exact home, but indicative of the kind of home that KB Homes is proposing. We picked KB Homes as a partner because they've had a long history in the city of Lancaster. They've been building here since the 70s, and they couldn't have been more excited to partner. They, of course, have corporate headquarters located in Westwood, and we were able to go down and make a full presentation with KB to BYD that I think made this deal happen in record-breaking time. We're proud to say from concept to this meeting has been a period of 45 days. The last slide I have for you is what I think this deal really has been all about, is the development of relationships. The mayor and the vice mayor, I think, have done a superb job in developing this relationship, and we don't know what the future holds, but we want to make sure we keep Lancaster on their radar screen, and that's what we're doing. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Okay. Thank you. The partnership with BYD, I think, could be essential to the future of Lancaster, and this is the beginning of it, in that between BYD and KB Homes, we will have the most energy-efficient homes that are affordable in America. I mean, for $5 million, we could build a better one, but one that's affordable. These three homes are going to be state-of-the-art. It also is in keeping with our goal of becoming the alternative energy capital of the world. And as you can see, when we first talked about that, there were many people who were laughing at us. What do you mean of the world? As you can see, we are bringing that about. It will truly be the alternative energy capital of the world. It does require a great deal of commitment, a great deal of work, a great deal of energy, and more importantly, it requires all of us to be unified in that desire and not do anything to disrupt it. With that, is there a motion? Oh, we have speaker cards. Okay. David Paul? And for everybody's information, this is the COO of BYD that I'm talking to there. Just so everybody knows, they're absolutely interested in us. We're absolutely interested in them, but nobody's proposed marriage yet.
Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council, good evening. I hope you had a great trip. I'm excited about the economic prospects this endeavor will bring. I do have a concern. My grandma, Evelyn, she had this site, and she used to say, and she threw in an appeal to authority, the Bible says that in the end, the challenge will come from the east, and then she'd say the Chinese are going to overrun us. But she was never really concerned about it then, because she also used to tell me to eat my vegetables because children in China are starving. So I think she thought it was more of a future thing. And Mr. Mayor, we've dealt a little bit lately with separation of church and state. And I think about Islamic law, Sharia law, where the church is the state. But to the Chinese, the state is the religion. And Mr. Lawson talked about this is a technology corridor. We're a technology city. Chinese espionage is the most aggressive in the world today, and that's my concern. Our intelligence services are worn out, people are retiring, we don't have the capabilities, and they have an unlimited supply of people that want to do good for the state. So that's just what I'm wondering. What is the connection? Are we aware that Chinese intelligence officers are going to be coming and looking, and I mean, they're already doing it, but this just seems to give them a better access. So these are concerns I think that we need to deal with, and I'd like to know if anybody has considered that. Thank you.
I'll have to ask the Chinese attorney in my office if her religion is the Red China state. That is the most racist thing. Not the most racist. The most racist thing I've heard is the commercials running on television trying to scare everybody that the red hordes are coming. It is insulting to every Chinese American in this city. There's nothing we can do about it except grin and bear it. But for those of you who haven't seen it, perhaps you should tune into Channel 3 News. The entire time we were in China, including Taiwan, by the way, which is not connected to Red China, I don't think I ever heard the word communism. I heard the word capitalism a lot.
And entrepreneur.
And business a lot. And for us to be engaged in this discussion, I think, is beneath all of us. You know, this is 2010. Most of the products we use are coming from China. To say that we don't want to have 10,000 jobs because we don't like the race of the people that are bringing them, how is that even conceivable anywhere in America today? It breaks my heart that in our city we have people actually running television commercials demeaning an entire ethnic group merely because of the country they come from. And I hope it stops. David Abbott.
Good evening, council and staff and citizens. I've been out knocking on doors, and I've been on the phone in the restaurants today and stuff, and seems this story in the front page of the paper seems to be a great concern to many people that I've spoke to today in the restaurants and that have called me and I spoke to. And it seems that the questions they're raising is, they're all wondering if this 5 homes that are proposed, they're concerned about the fees. We're waiving $50,000 to $60,000 in fees. How are we going to recover these fees? Some of the other concerns they raise with me is, I was shocked. I didn't realize that many people read the Antelope Valley Press. I mean, I really got to on Awakening today. Did you see the story today is what they were saying to me. And we got to talking about it, the neighbor down the street and other houses I was knocking on. And, the general consensus, is kind of, what's going to happen with the fees, and is this just an attempt to pacify the citizens and the voters with the promise of 10,000 jobs that obviously didn't happen? And, is the wool being pulled over our eyes again? And it's a snow job. And I said, well, dial 723-6000, ask the city officials. I don't have those answers. I go, legitimate questions that they seem to be raising. So I'm sure the people on the other side over there might have those answers, because I know myself for the last, week and a half, I read about 10,000 jobs in the paper, then 3,000, then it was a couple hundred, then it was a pipe dream by Saturday, and then nothing on Monday. No jobs, and I'm questioning, staff that went over there. What did they bring back? If they just brought back 5 houses, okay, and that's just, something that we're going to look into. But how are we going to get these fees back? $50,000, $60,000. I think that there's many concerned citizens out there. I know, knocking on doors today, that was the message I got loud and clear. My phone rang off the hook. And, I commend the Valley Press. They're doing a really good job by getting the news out there. I'm just really, really surprised. I don't know. I'm just short for words. Imagine that, and I want to know where those 10,000 jobs are that we were promised. I guess that didn't happen. That was just a way to duck a debate, apparently, on a candidate that, had legitimate issues. But, hopefully that'll happen. Thank you very much for your time.
Lyle Talbot.
Good evening, members of the council, the staff, and the audience. While you were in China, Mayor, your staff, I was here in the AB, in the trenches, still fighting that Palmdale powerhouse down there, that power plant they want to build on the northern border of their city, so the refuse from the stacks goes into our city. But I'm still at it. And I wish you'd have taken along an environmentalist on that trip. I'd been of great help to you, I'm certain. And about these 5 homes, are they going to be built with a 2-car or a 3-car garage? Do you have any idea?
I actually don't know the answer to that. I would assume it'd be 2.
I tell you what, my house is over 40 years old, and it could use a retrofit. So I'm going to volunteer my property in case you want to upgrade my spot. Thank you.
Thank you, Lyle. Okay, moving on.
Well, I think it's a great partnership, and I think it's going to really just change the way the Valley builds homes and what's going to be in the future. So with that, I'll move that we adopt staff's recommendation.
I'll second that.
Before we vote, I do want to comment on something. The only way we're going to solve this employment problem is to be as proactive and aggressive and work as hard as we possibly can at every single opportunity that comes along. It is not something that we can snap our fingers and produce. It may happen, it may not happen, but I know this. I know that if we do not try with everything we have, it's not going to happen. And I'll also say with absolute certainty, I've learned a long time ago that if we allow our fear of failure to stop us, you can guarantee that we will go nowhere. We could fail at this. We could invest a lot of time and energy, and that plant might be built someplace else. And then we'll work on the next one, and the next one, until we solve this problem. But what I'm not going to do is sit here and wait for it to come to us. I think that we did that for 30 years. Those days are over. We will do whatever it takes to bring these jobs to us, and we'll keep trying and trying and trying until it happens. We will not sit here and wait for the world to happen to us. With that, let's vote. It's unanimous. Oh, passes unanimous. So, let the great adventure begin. This could truly be the beginning of something magnificent.
Mr. Mayor, I just think we also got to go on record. We've had a lot of discussions historically about all the jobs that have been exported out of the United States. It's about time we do something about importing them.
I agree. Thank you. Council agenda? None? City manager, do you have any announcements?
Couple. This Thursday from 5 to 8 o'clock, we have a celebration downtown. As you can see, the construction's already begun. We have a nice celebration. We invite the public to attend to help the downtown businesses. The businesses have been very understanding and very supportive of the construction to date. I need to take a moment and talk about KB and BYD and a story about how the first meeting with BYD took place. We at the City of Lancaster staff really pride ourselves in making sure that we're prepared for meetings and that our council's prepared for meetings that they go to. This is one time that didn't happen. The mayor and the vice mayor will recall that we got a call from Supervisor Antonovich's office inviting them down to a meeting to meet some Chinese delegation. We did not send a staff member down. We did give them some materials, but when they got down there, they were meeting the chairman of BYD, Stella, the chairman who's the richest person in China, and I give you all the credit for starting that relationship really without proper preparation from us, and we're at a point where it's going to bear fruit. So we thank you for that.
Thank you.
I was struck by Mr. McCurtis. I also went to Paraclete, and believe it or not, in my 3-year career, I scored 14 points. So he had the 1,400 to beat me in his first game, the first half of his first game. But I got a little pride out of that. The last thing is that I may need to leave. I have a commitment a little early in this meeting, so if that happens, I apologize.
I think we'll be done before you leave. Okay. Thank you. City Clerk?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the time for you to address the City Council on any items that are not on the agenda. You'll find speaker cards on the table at the back of the council chambers. As much as we appreciate your request to make comments before your 3 minutes begin, please understand your time does begin when you start to speak. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. If you choose to ask a question during this time, any response by council will not extend your 3 minutes. When you approach the podium, you'll see 3 lights. The green light comes on. Thank you. The green light comes on when your time begins. The yellow light comes on when you have 30 seconds left. And the red light comes on when your time is up. We ask that you be considerate of the allotted time to allow other speakers to have their 3 minutes as well. Following this procedure will allow for a smooth and timely process for the meeting. State law prohibits the City Council and the Redevelopment Agency from taking action on items that are not on the agenda, and your matter will be referred to the City Manager. Thank you.
Dan and Carol Selmser? We usually don't have teams, but I'll make an exception. Okay.
Okay, what I have here is started out on a positive word. We've brought our daughter here to the meetings for the last 2 years, and to get her interested in what happens in city politics, in government. Tonight, my wife Beth and I would like to recognize the faculties and administrations of Desert Christian, Joshua Elementary, Paiute Middle School, and our daughter Kelly's High School, East Side, home of the Lions, and for preparing and mentoring our daughter, who as a result, Dan accepted.
Dan?
Yes. Yeah, sorry. Been in the hospital the last 2 days.
Okay.
No, I can do it, yeah. She's been accepted to 2 of our out-of-state universities and 6 of our state colleges. In her final application process, she chose 3, Davis, Santa Barbara, and what later she told us was her long shot UCLA. And out of 57,000 applicants, 4,000 were chosen to attend UCLA. And we're very proud of her and her hard work and her good choices that Kelly has accepted to go to UCLA. For almost 2 years, she's come here, like I said, and she's got the bug. And what she would like to do is, she has been accepted to the School of Arts and Letters. She will be attending for a political science degree and hopes to go on to a law degree after that. We'd like to thank our daughter.
Stand up.
There's a lot of people that come to these meetings, and at this time, there's a lot of negative things said here. Okay? And I challenge other parents to come out and to show their pride in their children. We have 2 other kids that we're equally as proud of, a son and an older daughter. But we challenge the people that come here, make one of us a week come here in a positive tone, because there's a lot of negativity that goes on here, and there's a lot of hard work by all of you people. And we appreciate it. We'd just like to let you know that. Thank you very much for all your hard work.
Thank you, Dan.
If she likes the government and she wants to be an attorney, our city attorney graduated from UCLA.
I was going to suggest you come to our office and get a job this summer, but you chose UCLA over UCSB, and I would.
She still wants the job.
Natalia, set up an appointment, would you? Good. I think that's commendable. Thank you.
That's great.
And thank you for bringing it to us. Okay.
Also, thanks to the City Council for providing the Youth and Government program,
good.
She was a part of last year.
Great.
Makes a big deal.
Good.
Very good.
Thank you. Okay, Lyle Talbot. Are these new? These new?
Well, I want you to know I was working hard while you were gone on your vacation, shopping for cars over there. But I've still been working on this power plant down there at Palmdale that we're going to be the downwinders of it when it's built, if it gets built, if we can't stop it or get it relocated. So I'm not getting a lot of traction, so I wrote a letter to the editor, which you may never see because it might not get to print. Editor, an open letter to Mayor Jim Ledford. I was born in Iowa, where every pig farmer knew where to build your house, upwind from the pig pens. Placing your so-called hybrid power plant that is only 10% solar and 90% fossil fuel on the northern border of Palmdale and just across the Cactus Curtin Avenue M near Sierra Highway just goes to show you that you know a lot more than those pig farmers in Iowa, and he also knows which way the wind blows up here in the valley. Nice move, Mayor, if you get away with it. All you folks in Lancaster better take a deep breath and hold it, because it will be the greatest source of air pollution in the Antelope Valley, bar none. Lancaster's leadership has been on vacation somewhere in the area just lately, and our 2 council appointees, Smith and Marquez, who sit on the Air Pollution Control Board, must have had their blinders on. This is your wake-up call. Thank you very much. Oh, the mayor asked city manager to investigate the allegations I've been making or whatever, and I haven't heard that report. It was delayed 2 weeks ago, and I suppose it's been pretty busy since. Have you got a report for the mayor?
You know, it does seem to me, you're not allowed to question the staff. This is the time for us to hear from you.
Well,
but it does seem to me that we ought to have some visual representation of what that plant is going to present to all of us, so that we don't wake up one day looking at it. and wondering where we were or were we asleep at the switch. And we really ought to provide the citizens of Lancaster a graphic representation of what the plant will 5 years from now when it's built, and whether or not we want to see that and deal with that every day. Because right now what we're talking about is something none of us have any conception of what it's going to look like, how big it's going to be. I mean, is it going to be 30 stories high? Is it,
145 feet, the stacks.
So, yeah, I think...
Right next to the runway.
Lyle, we don't always agree on things, but I think this is a serious issue that the citizens of Lancaster ought to at least have some idea of what's coming at us. And if they have to get cancer credits to build it, we should know that. And why do you need to buy cancer credits?
And they do. They like to buy credits.
I agree that...
But that won't alleviate
I'm not saying
the
I
problem.
agree with your position. What I'm saying is I agree that the citizens of Lancaster are totally in the dark, and probably the citizens of Palmdale, as to exactly what this plant is going to do and be. And I would like to at least have everybody wake up and decide, is this something we want? Is this something we should resist? Because right now, we're talking about totally changing the visual look of this valley without anybody knowing. And what woke me up was I flew into Victorville one day, and it was, oh my gosh, and is that what's coming here? Is it bigger than what's in Victorville? Is it smaller? Is it going to look like the one in Victorville? I mean, all of those things I think we just need to know. I'm not saying we should resist it. I'm just saying we have an obligation to inform everybody visually of what this will be. So I agree with you, Lyle.
Thanks for raising the awareness of the community. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Mayor Pierce, I would just like to say, Mr. Talbot, that I have discussed this at some length with Mr. Banks, and we are aware of it, so we're keeping an eye on it.
Lyle? Okay. Yul Gavargas? Yes. Thank you. Yul, before I die, I'm going to get your last name right.
Gavargas.
Okay.
We go back, way back. I know.
You do.
I'm just folks, in 1999, I designed the concept because I went to Palm Springs when we had a rolling blackout. Governor Davis was in charge with the Enron fiasco in Southern California Edison, raising my charges at Louisiana Hots nightclub. I had to triple. I just simply converted my swamp cooler from AC alternate current into DC, and to back it up, at that time I was using a turbine, but then I went to solar panels that are a lot more effective. I demonstrated this unit to late Senator Pete Knight, rest his soul, and he said, "What do you want me to do about it? It's great, man. What are you going to do about it?" I said, "Senator, help me develop this." He said, "You know what, go work on it. We're going to find something." And he passed away. And then I demonstrated to State Senator George Runner later. He was our assemblyman at that time. He liked the idea. Mr. Norm Hickling is here. I admire the man. He gave me the opportunity last week to demonstrate my unit to him. It's on a trailer. I could bring it right here in front of City Council. At this time, Mr. Kishore Shiralkar of Kohalpur, India, he's been 3 weeks after me severely to start the production in India. I would like to do it here in the city of Lancaster where I have business. I've been bugging you off and on. Mr. Perez, I passed on a flyer to you. This unit that I have built, 11 years I've been using it. In 2001, Mr. Bill Warford did a newspaper article. In 2001 also we did the WG, and at that time Jones Cable, Channel 3 News. It's on the website, solarcooler1.com. Please look at it. I need your help. I really compliment you for BYD. It's an awesome concept, a home that barely needs any electricity, maybe a hybrid just in case. However, my concept is a complementary alternative for the tens of thousands of homes that they're already here, and they have summer surcharges because they're using their cool system. My swamp cooler does work. Mr. Jimmy Delshad, Beverly Hills mayor, him and I are in touch now. But I want to really produce it right here, create jobs like you say. I take my hat off to you, Mr. Perez, for bringing business here and creating jobs here. This shows, please go to solarcooler1.com. Mr. Bazigir, I appreciate it. I would like to get your help to start it here locally, perhaps in Fox Corridor. We start with 5 or 6 engineers, go to a crew, skeleton crew of 20 to 30, and eventually go to 3,000 perhaps people, because armed forces need it for Iraqi theater and Afghanistan, and locally we need it. All the old folks, all the homes need it locally. You can put a cooler for less than $2,200 and not to pay the summer surcharges. I appreciate it if I could leave this with Mr. Bozigian again. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I just had one thing to give this.
Go ahead.
Okay.
My great friend here. Mayor Parrish, City Council, City Manager, my name is Joseph Yore and I live in Palmdale. Lifetime member of the VFW American Legion. I worked with an attorney in Hollywood and Vine for 20 years. He passed away, so I moved to Palmdale. I bought 2 houses in Pennsylvania. I'm putting together a museum. My friend Lyle Talbot, I want to mention, a great violinist. We worked together for 6 years to try to clean up Plant 42, which is very contaminated. The whole Antelope Valley's contaminated. Once was gardens, vegetables, you name it. Now the city came in, and years ago they used to bury everything. But actually I came here to get some of your money. Some of your money. You're putting together, I've 28 years with American Legion at Hollywood and Vine. I put together a library for them. I've donated 1,050 movie posters, Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Science, plus a lot of memorabilia. Over the years, I donated tons of autographs and what have you not. I'm a Rat Pack collector. You name the poster, I have it. I can put together for Lancaster, Hollywood. You want a museum? I can put together a museum, but it's going to cost Lancaster. I want to sit with you people one day and show you what I have. I offered it one time to Palmdale. I had no takers. I'm also an artist. I sold my artwork. I still put together a lot of stuff. I donated to probably every charity you can think of, my paintings, my artwork. Now it's time for me to try to sell the city of Lancaster a museum. I can put one together. I can give you Hollywood. I worked in 40 movies as an extra. I worked a lot as a bit player. I was Groucho Marx stand-in. I gave Barbra Streisand her first kiss, and Funny Girl ended up in the cutting room floor, but I still get residuals, $5,000. Whenever you're ready to talk to me, I can give you your museum, but it's going to cost the city of Lancaster. You want to build your boulevard? I can give it to you. Thank you.
Thank you. David Paul.
Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, I didn't think I'd have to spend any time defending my love of the Chinese and Chinese civilization, but I can tell you that I appreciate the contributions of the Chinese, and I don't discriminate against anybody like that. I did have this thing I found, because trying to figure out how to explain certain things to you, and some of it may sound odd, I realize that, and I was online and I found this. It's the Association of Odd Fellows, and this is what an odd fellow is: a person who believes in a supreme being, creator or preserver of the universe, and is faithful to their country through support of projects in their local community, state, or nationality that improve or elevate the character of mankind. And they teach a lesson of fraternity, that we are all one family and therefore brethren, and that humanity was intended to be one harmonious structure. So I have no offense, nothing against the Chinese. I just want us all to get along, and I just wanted you to make some public comment about that reality that exists. The People's Liberation Army, the military intelligence unit, is a vast network that's everywhere, and that's all I'm trying to ask you about. We're going to wrap this up now. The season, it's been a fun time here, and when we assemble again, we'll have a new council and a new dynamic in the city. But it's all interrelated, and that's one of the things that I learned from John Bradshaw in his family systems. He put up a mobile, and when you touch one thing, another part jiggles, and it's all interrelated in a family system, in a government system, in a world system. So the best thing we can do is be aware of, if this jiggles, this is going to jiggle over here, and that's all I ever try and put forward. But congratulations on bringing the jobs, and I hope we have a profitable next council. Thank you.
Thank you, David. David Ehrlich.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council.
Good evening.
Good evening. I had a speech written out here, but I guess we have two people who actually sit on the Air Resource Board, Mr. Mann and Marquez. Is that correct? Okay, cool. The main concern I have, we're talking about jobs, getting jobs here, is the environment or the EPA's regulation on us. And a lot of people I've talked to says it's hard to open a business up here because of that. I'm not against any environmental. I'm for the environment, but this AB 32. That's coming down the road. They're locking it up in 2012. You see, there was a summit in Copenhagen not too long ago, and 4 weeks before the summit, the LPPC is who gives all the information to the EPA. That's the foreign. Or hold on, let me just get to the spot I need to be. The IPPC, which is the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. It's actually a UN agency, but that's where they get all their information from. It's right on the EPA website. 4 weeks before Copenhagen, information was released through IPPC, which is proven some of this information is wrong. I think we need to take a step back before we implement some of these things that are going to even make it tougher to open businesses out here. In fact, I went to our Central Committee meeting last week. And Lancaster has set the standards. In fact, they asked me, being from Lancaster, how we implemented the E-Verify program. That was something that we've done here, and they said, go to your city council. Let's get other cities to do it, because that's something that immigration is something that does need to be taken care of. But so we are setting the standard, and I hope we can set the standard on this. It's some of this stuff. I mean, it's a monster. At the Copenhagen Climate, they were supposed to introduce the new. The IMF was supposed to start the cap and trade program, but they didn't have enough evidence to prove that the global warming is caused by us and as much by us. So the IMF was to receive a mere $12 trillion to implement the cap and trade program. And all the science behind it hasn't really truly been proven. See, there's 3 regional cap and trade programs currently in development, and they consist of 23 states, California being one of them. Many states are now fighting the legislation in light of the ClimateGate. There are 9 states that have avoided the programs, Texas being one of them, and that's why they've kind of made it through this financial problem, is they don't have all the restraints, so business can go there, they can open up. Florida actually has its own, or developing its own cap and trade program within its own state so it can keep its own money. Okay, and that's what the 10th Amendment allows us to do. It works at the state level. This thing is a monstrosity that's going to give the federal government complete control over what we do. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just speak to that, Mayor?
Yes.
Mr. Ehrlich, thank you. We are in the process of having a resolution prepared. We've discussed it on the council, and we're not in approval of AB 32. And the AVA QMD has already, they're in the process of doing the same. Mojave's done it. So we're right behind you. I will say on that note that the Copenhagen meeting that they had, I actually just read that the taxpayers paid $553,500 $553,564 in travel expenses for 61 reps on the taxpayer's dime.
Thank you. Scott Pelka.
I read with some rather humorous outlook here at Political 460 statements, which are on the city's website. One for you, Mr. Paris, one for Ron Smith, and one for a group called Citizens for Lancaster's Future. Now, Citizens for Lancaster's Future, for those who don't know, are the organization that produced the first slate mailer. And that slate mailer consisted of Mr. Paris, Mr. Smith, and Mr. Christ. In their 460 statements, they have as their chief contributor Mr. Jim Gilley for $52,000. Now, I find that rather interesting that Mr. Gilley, a former city manager here, who supposedly not supposed to have any influence on the elections, spends $52,000 to produce slate mailers on behalf of Mr. Paris, Mr. Smith, and Mr. Christ. Also, looking at Mr. Paris's 460s, it appears you have taken $10,000 from some of the automobile dealerships that you just voted a couple weeks ago to give a substantial amount of money to aid their dealerships. Why would they give you a kickback of $10,000 to help your campaign? Mr. Smith, on his political 460s, has a contribution given to him of $20,000, and that was from a company called Rockland Financial out on Ventura Boulevard in Encino. They happen to be one of the developers of the Lancaster Boulevard project. Seems to me that that's kind of considered, political payback for, voting for the Lancaster Boulevard project. And since Mr. Paris yourself, I got $40,000 from Mr. Haynes, from the contractor, coming back from your house. As you said, it was a refund, although stories that I've heard or otherwise contradict that. It's more of a, maybe a kickback so that he can get the project himself. Oh, by the way, here's a photograph of a gentleman from Batts and Associates, the private investigation firm that you yourself have hired to follow me around and my wife, and also have followed other people that I have talked to, other candidates, et cetera, not only in this election term, but of the last election that was going on here. I'm just curious as to why you find it so interesting to follow me around, from one of your private investigators.
Mr. Pelka, I can assure you that I have never had anybody follow you around. I can also assure you that I have absolutely no interest in anything that you...
That's not true. That's not true. I've took his license plate number down. I had it traced, and that's where he's from.
Also, just so the record is clear, I think we should probably hire Greg for all of our projects because he built my house 20 years ago. And for him to know that 20 years later he might be rebuilding the boulevard, that is an incredibly prescient person. Okay. Also, so the record is clear, I know that one of the people running against me is saying that I voted to give Ricky Clutter $2 million. I did not vote on that, just so everybody's clear. It's just an out-and-out lie that they're sending to all of the voters. Sorry, wasn't me. Was the rest of you guys, though. I too got to say that. Okay, David Aber.
Good evening again. 6 months ago, I made a suggestion, innovation. Let's take a minute to grant council and staff a word of encouragement, support for the tough decisions that they will make that will have an impact on all the statements. And then we could take a moment and we could start the meetings and save ourselves from a possible lawsuit and all the problems. I've been a resident here for over 40 years. And I've been to more city council meetings than probably anybody in this room besides Mr. McKeown and Mr. Lawson, I would imagine. And this last 4 years seems to be the worst with respect to the constitutional safeguards to the citizens and productive growth and responsible government. And I have an issue with that. Mr. Smith recently made a statement that he implemented televising these meetings when in fact it was Bruce Hailstone who spoke before this very body long before you ever sat there, Mr. Smith. But something you can't take credit for is running Bob LaSalle out of town. That cost us $1 million, in case anybody has forgotten. Mr. Hearns was the mayor then. He stepped aside. Mr. Vasaki went down in flames when he was beaten severely in the last election. And hopefully the taxpayers will remember that in this election, that you cost us quite a bit of money. You talk about less government. You've implemented more. They organized a recall against you at that point in time, when in fact what you did is you intimidated the Woman of the Year, Dixie Eliopoulos, who was conducting a peaceful assembly. This is the type of leadership that you bring down. You support closing down businesses in town, putting fences around them, causing families hardships, costing us into lawsuits. You support Measure I, you're proud of, when it's totally against the law, as ruled in Burbank versus Irv Rubin. It goes on and on. I could go on and on about, the things you've done with respect to, you said at a recent forum, less government is better. You've increased taxes through your leadership. You've brought on more ordinances. That's more government last time I checked. The bottom line is recently yesterday, I had some people come up to me in the courtroom, a couple of attorneys that were talking about how you ran from a courtroom back in Van Nuys a few years back. Is that the reason you're no longer a deputy sheriff? I have a problem with that. You're supposed to be protecting the people in that courtroom. I have a problem with the L3 company backing out because of our unethical behavior. They stepped away on the spy plane, the violation of the Fourth Amendment. Got a real big problem with that. Maybe they don't want to do deals with people that do backroom deals and don't follow the ethics law. I've got about 14 seconds left. I want to commend Mr. Cilio for the fantastic leadership that he's brought to the city the past 8 years. I'm sorry that we're losing him. He's a great asset. I'm sure that it's tough for him, possibly, in my opinion, to sit there and have to put up with most of the stuff.
Dan, do you have any other kids you want to talk about?
Well, I didn't catch your smart remark. What was that?
You're done, Mr. Eber. Thank you.
That's what I thought.
Mayor Pierce, I just would like to say something.
Sure.
Mr. Aber, I know that I've been coming to the city council meetings for about the last 4 years, 2 on the council, but your recollection is a little fuzzy. And I just want to correct a couple things, because I know that when I was coming down and I did not know Mr. Smith, Vice Mayor Smith personally, I brought down all my election papers that I keep, and he was the only one on the council that was actually keeping his promise, which was to go over budgets and cut things to make sure that we had more deputies on the streets. I will correct you with Mr. Bob LaSala, who, if people would do the research, they'd find out that this is the 3rd time that he's left somewhere with quite a retirement package. And I would also tell you this, that Mr. LaSala, it appeared to me, was more for social programs, and when we were asking for more deputies, and he would say absolutely not, and he also said in this council that more butts and patrol cars is not the answer, then what was the answer is what my question was to Mr. LaSala. I was here. And Mr. Aber, you can stand there and you can give your side, but I'm going to give my side too every single time. Thank you.
I've been coming for 20 years.
Okay, moving on. Moving on. Thank you. Council reports, none. Council agency comments, none. Closed session, none. Pursuant to action taken by the City Council Redevelopment Agency on November 10, 2009, there will not be a City Council Redevelopment Agency meeting on April 13th, 2010. We are adjourned until April 27th, 2010 at 5 p.m. Carol, my day is done and I'm coming home.